Thank you for watching. This is StitchinJenny, and today I'd like to show you how to sew an invisible zipper. Something that I appreciate about these packages is they come with built-in instructions. That's the front of the zipper. The coils of the zipper teeth are curled over and they've got to be pressed open before you use it. The iron has to be at a high enough setting to uncoil those teeth, but not so high that it would melt them. Ask me how I know. Having it a little too high and you can just ruin that zipper. It takes a little work to get those teeth to uncurl. I'm ironing on the tape side, the fabric side, not directly onto the nylon teeth. Set your zipper aside to cool. The Sock Monkey fabric I have is supposed to be like the back of a skirt, and the zipper's going to go in the center back. This is Wonder Tape. It's double-sided adhesive wash-away tape. It's a great way to install invisible zippers and also all-purpose zippers. Secure this tape along the raw edge of the fabric where you plan to put the zipper. I use it instead of straight pins a lot. The tape needs to be kind of rubbed into the fabric, and then you peel the paper backing off to expose the sticky surface. Again, the nice thing about this tape is it'll wash out in the laundry. That's sticky. Here's the tricky part, making sure this zipper goes in and doesn't end up inside out on the project. I like to lay my zipper on the fabric so that I can kind of see, okay, this is the right side of the zipper, the left part of the tape is going to go to the left back piece, and the right part of the tape is going to go to the right back piece. So that's the piece I've got in my hand, so that as I unzip it, that's the piece that goes to the right hand section of that back piece. And I want that top end of the zipper tape to be at the top end of the skirt, and I'm emphasizing laying it right sides together, so that way when I zip it, when it's finished, the pull tab is on the outside of the project and not the inside of the project. The edge of the zipper tape itself gets aligned at the edge of the fabric. Notice the teeth are not aligned with the edge of the fabric. That's a common mistake we make when we're first beginning to learn to use zippers. The teeth should not be at the edge, it's the tape. And again, the tape is right side down, pretty side down. If you get confused, close the zipper so you can make sure where it is. It's kind of hard sometimes on an invisible zipper. But you can see in that top corner of the screen, that's the back of the zipper. So I do have my zipper right side down right now. I have to do all these little double checks when I do invisible zippers because it's confusing. I'm using the Janome 9450 sewing machine. It comes with a lot of accessories. That one is the invisible zipper foot. It's not included with your purchase, but I did go ahead and get it. I love the tunnels for invisible zippers. The next foot is an adjustable narrow zipper foot. This little green screw on the back can be loosened so you can slide this presser foot left or right as needed to align with your needle. This is the narrow zipper foot that does come standard with the Janome 9450, and you can reposition your needle to the left or the right so that you can be close to the edge of whatever you're stitching. These are snap-on feet. I'm going to snap on the invisible zipper foot. Now I want to place the zipper teeth in the tunnel that's on the right so that my needle can sink into the left of those teeth. I'm slowing the machine down. And then I'm like, that's too slow. Let's speed it up a bit. So you just keep your eye on the tunnel, make sure the teeth are standing up in that tunnel and that you're not sewing in the teeth with your needle. Your needle should be to the left of the teeth. That metal divider really does a great job of helping the invisible zipper do its job. And since I'm using that adhesive tape, I'm not having to fuss with keeping the tape in position, the zipper in position as I'm stitching. I'm just having to concentrate on making sure things are flowing through nicely. And you want to sew up to the end of the zipper and stop, do a little back stitch. And then it's good to zip the zipper after you stitch it in, just to make sure your zipper can still close. Ask me how I know. Isn't that pretty? Nice job. And there's the stitches right beside the zipper teeth. Now I've got to sew the other half of the zipper tape to the other half of the skirt. And I want to be careful that I lay these guys right sides together. And I need to make sure that the top edge of the zipper tape is at the top edge of the skirt again, and that the raw edges are aligned. This time I'm not using adhesive tape, so this time I'm going to have to work a little harder making sure that the zipper stays in place as I stitch it in. The zipper's right side down. Now I want those zipper teeth to go in the left tunnel of the invisible zipper foot, because the needle needs to sink into the right of those teeth this time. Gotta be careful to keep that edge of that zipper tape aligned with the edge of the fabric. You could backstitch at the top of that if you wanted to, but usually the top edge of a skirt gets some kind of a finish, a facing or a binding around it, so that's why I didn't backstitch. And see how you just kind of sew a few inches at a time and then reposition your tape, just making sure the edge of the tape's at the edge of your fabric. And when we get to the end of the zipper, we'll stop and do a little back stitch. Just a few stitches backwards, that's all we need. Now it's time to check our work, make sure our zipper still zips. The magic zippy zip. Oh, the feeling of success. And see, my zipper's not inside out. There's the pull where it should be on the outside. Here's the back of it. I'm checking our stitches, and see, they're very close to the teeth. This is the key when you use an invisible zipper. You got to get close to the teeth so that when it's zipped, it looks like a seam. Now we got to close the bottom edge of the skirt, and that's where the narrow zipper foot comes in. This is the one that came with the machine, and I need to move the needle over so that I can be sewing very close to the edge of that presser foot. These are snap-on feet. I want to sew that seam closed. And I don't want a pucker in the back of the skirt. I don't want a ripple. So this is where I get really picky. I'm folding the zipper tape and then getting the zipper tape base out of the way. See, fold them together, basically like it's your seam, because it is, and then move the bottom of that tape out of your way. And we got to sew kind of really close to those stitches right there, right there. The zipper teeth are kind of up on their edge, they're not laying flat. And I'm going to move the needle over to the right so that it can be as far to the right as I can get it. And then I move the zipper as close to the presser foot as I can get it without, I don't want to sew in the nylon teeth on accident, so it's kind of a balancing act. And I'm making sure that I'm kind of starting the stitch a little bit, retracing where I already stitched. And you can see I'm going to be to the left of those stitches, and that's the way it is when you do an invisible zipper and you're finishing the bottom end. You get as close as you can, you do a little back stitch, and then you sew the rest of the seam. Sewing forwards first, and I'm going to sew backwards a few stitches. That's to anchor that. And then now at this point I could switch presser feet to the standard all-purpose presser foot to finish the rest of the seam. I'm doing probably a 5/8 inch seam allowance here. Most clothing projects are 5/8 inch seam allowances. But I decided to keep that zipper foot on because I'm making sure the raw edge of the fabric is on the 5/8 inch seam allowance. There's markings on the bed of the machine so that I can make sure my seam allowance is where I want it. I'm keeping the raw edges of the fabric aligned with each other and then keeping them on the 5/8 inch mark on the bed of the machine. And that other foot with the green screw, I could have used that foot if my sewing machine didn't have a repositionable needle that can be scooched left or right. Also backstitch at the end of that seam. And there we are. I sewed really close to the stitches. And see how pretty that turns out? And then unzip it. And it stops where it needs to stop. And then you would hem your skirt, you know, after you put the rest of your skirt together and all that, you would hem your skirt. But ta-da! Thank you for watching. Be sure to check out StitchinJenny.com for more videos.